Hey everyone, welcome to the final monthly tech video on the Cave Shooter boards by Fluffy, how to assemble them, etc, etc. So today we're going to do the final assembly, then we'll chuck it in a cart shell, and then we'll power it up and hopefully everything works. Now I've cheated a little bit for this video just to sort of save a little bit of time. As you can see, this is the graphics board. Now you can't put sockets in this, they have to be soldered directly into the PCB, or the actual PCB and chips don't fit back into a real cartridge. So what I've done is I've put the decoupling caps on, so you can see I've done them, and then I've put the 4 logic chips on. So I put them on, as you can see, and then the filter caps on each side, I've done those as well. So all I need to do now is put the EPROMs in, and then I'll solder them all in, chuck it together, and then we'll see how we go to from there. So the other thing that I have skipped a little bit of is I've got all the EPROMs ready to go, so they're already pre-programmed, ready to rock and roll. As you can see, they've got my nice little EPROM label, which I really like. It took me a while to design. I designed it by hand actually. Did I use paintbrush? I used something really basic, and sent it to them, and then they made the stickers. So yeah, really happy with how that turned out. So I'm going to mount all these guys. So this set here that you can see, all of these here, these are going to be mounted onto the board, soldered in, and that's where we're going to go to from here. Now while I'm doing that, so I don't bore everybody to death, I'll try and talk about some stuff that's been happening, other projects, that sort of thing. So this is M1. M1 is your music data. Now make sure that you put these around the right way. You can see there's a little dimple down here. That has to match with the dimple on the chip, which is just in here. Not sure how well you can see that, but they have to match. Now, this is where the tricky bit comes in, is do all the legs want to line up and go in? No, yes, no. Oh, whoops. Decoupling caps a little bit. Just bend that out a little bit. There we go. Actually, I might do that to all of them. Bend them out just a little bit. They're touching the socket. There we go. They're all bent out. Now let's see if this guy's going to go back in. Oh. No. No, she's still not wanting to go in. Yeah, this can take... Let me just get my leg straightener. Let this guy in, see if this helps. It normally does. Yeah, these are really handy. They're they'll do a wide dip and a skinny dip, and push them together, and they straighten the legs on chip. Very handy. Not too expensive, about 16 bucks, 17 bucks on eBay. You can probably find it cheaper, but that's the one that I bought. Alright, let's see if this is going to work now. No, she's not lining up very well at all. She's a little bit annoying, but that's what happens. Okay, let's see if I can get this guy in. There we go. Now she's going in. Crackers, that took a while. Cool. Good. All the notches match up. Just bend over 2 of the legs, just to hold her in there. Alright, let's go. Alright. Now, let's solder this guy in. Now, just solder in 2 of the pins just to stop the chip from moving while I'm doing it. Now this isn't terribly too difficult, it's just a dip chip. They're not usually that hard to put in. This one, plating on this hole is a little bit not too good, so I might just solder it. Just do a little bit of solder. I don't normally do that. It's just sometimes you get a hole that the plating's not 100%, and that should do it. That should fix that. Alright, okay, let's keep going. Now, if you guys haven't been checking, I've actually started up a Discord server for PGM related stuff. The link to that will be in the description of this video, so it'll be in there. It's just a group just for PGM stuff or arcade stuff as well. It's only a small group at the moment, but I think it will get a bit larger, and you know, that'd be really, really cool. I don't know if there are any other PGM groups. I've never found one, so we might be one of the first people to start one, which is pretty cool. It also gives you a chance to chat to me in real time, so if you've got any questions or anything like that, you can ask me, and it's quicker than email, obviously, etc. And Discord seems to be pretty popular. So that's another reason for getting a server as well. So yeah, so happy about that. Now with these EPROMs, I pre-programmed on mine. I've got an EPROM programmer, so I can do that. If you don't have one, there are some cheaper programmers on the market, and as long as they've got an adapter to do 42 pin EPROMs, the 27C 3-2s, you can use them. And then you've got the PAL-GAL chip that you need to program as well, which I think is a 16 V8 or 18 V8. I think it's 16 V8. I just use a Lattice branded one, but there are quite a few you can use. You don't have to use the Lattice branded one, but I use it and I haven't had any problems. Well, the only thing I've had, and I think it's just because either the chips are not brand new or their chips are a bit sus or something. So I've had quite a few chips fail. I'm not sure if they were fakes that have been rebranded. They could be. Yeah, so try and get... That's one of the hardest things with eBay these days, is that some of the sellers are a little bit not upfront, and you know, some are selling, you know, used EPROMs, and they just print over the top of the EPROM to make it look new, when in actual fact it isn't. I just use second-hand EPROMs. That way you should be actually getting the genuine article. I've not seen any fakes in used chips, because the sellers who have the fakes are normally selling them as new, so that they obviously get a bit more money for them. So that's a little trap to fall in. Plus, EPROMs are fine. You can erase them hundreds of thousands. Well, I don't know if it's hundreds of thousands of time, but a lot more than what you're going to do. I mean, if you buy used EPROMs, they've probably been programmed maybe 5-10 times. Because I mean, if you have a look at the EPROMs in these cards, once you program them, that's it. They go in here, you solder them in just like this, and that's it. You know, you don't program them again, you don't do anything, they just sit there. So, yeah, so used EPROMs are okay, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Alright, now let's check all that out. Alright, that looks good. Okay, next chip. Okay, now we're into the A's. A4 is next, which is this one. Let's see how this guy's going to go in. No? Maybe a little bit. Oh, there we go. Alright. Oh. There we go. Now, just double check that you've got him around the right way. Yep, good. He's in. Now let's solder him up. Yeah, so with the EEPROM programmers, there's also a company called Buy IC Now, and what they do is they sell EEPROMs, but they'll program the EEPROMs that you buy from them with whatever files you want. So it's another way that if you don't have an EEPROM programmer and you're into electronics and you want to make these boards, that's another way of actually getting the chips programmed. I've bought from them before. I've never had any problems with them. So that works. I've never had them program my chips, me personally, because I've got an EEPROM burner. I don't need that. But it's a service that they do, and I think pretty much anything they sell, they'll program. I know I asked them a while back, like what programmers do you use, just for reference, and I think they had like 2 or 3 different ones. So I don't think there's any chips that you can buy from them that they can't program. So that's a pretty good handy service to have. So yeah, the only thing I don't like about it is that if they accidentally program a chip wrong, when you get all the chips in, you've got no way of fixing that. You'd have to order more chips for them and wait, a month or 2, because postage is so slow these days because of good old COVID. Yeah, it doesn't help a lot. So that's one way of doing it. But there are EEPROM programmers out there. I know I think either it was in one of the CAVE video. I did stuff about EEPROM programmers and stuff like that in a video that I've previously done. So there's definitely a video on them that has all this information. So just jump on to my YouTube, obviously, and jump in and have a look. And I'm sure you'll find the video. All right, next row. Yeah, you can easily see now with soldering these, there's a lot of soldering involved, and that's why these guys take so long to do. I mean, the soldering's simple. I mean, none of it's surface mount or through hole, so it's not difficult to do. It's just very time consuming. I mean, I've been trying to find a wave soldering machine, a professional wave soldering machine, so I could wave solder all of these. But so far, I found one, but it was like the size of a car, so I didn't want to get that, obviously, because I got nowhere to put it. So yeah, so that was a little bit disappointing, but I'm pretty sure there must be some out there for hobbyists to use. I mean, I've got an infrared rework oven, a proper oven, and that's just like a hugely oversized microwave, except it's got a tray, not a door. So you just pull the tray out, drop the PCB in, set all the parameters for what solder you're using, what the board is, etc., etc., and then you can reflow boards and do all that sort of thing. If you wanted to and you had solder paste, you could put solder paste down and actually get that to melt and then actually hold down your chips. You should be able to do BGAs on it without too much trouble. So that's another usage. They're not hugely expensive, but they're not hugely cheap. I think, to be perfectly honest, I'd recommend getting the Hacko, the FR, is it 301, 302? I'd recommend probably get one of him before getting an infrared rework oven, because you're probably going to use that a lot more than what you will with the actual oven itself. So, yeah. Alright, that chip's in. Just give it a quick squiz just to make sure that we didn't short out any of the legs to each other, which is very easy to do. Alright, so that's A4. Now let's move on to A3. Now, how well is this going to go in? Wasn't too bad before. That's not. Well, it's not liking that. Right, let's bend the legs a little bit. See if this is going to help. Yeah, this can be a real pain. Some days they just go in and that's it. And then other days they're like, no, see you later. There we go. Cool. That one's in. Alright. He's in. Let's solder him in. Now back to the EEPROM programmers, while I've got time to talk about them. The only condition that you have to have the 27C 3-2 EEPROMs, which these boards use exclusively, are a 42-pin device. So if you're going to look for an EEPROM programmer, make sure you either can get an adapter to 42 pins, or the actual unit has 42 pins. The one I have is quite expensive, but it's got 48 pins, so I don't need to use adapters. The only thing I use adapters for are like T-SOPs and stuff like that, SOP chips. Yeah, depending on what I'm doing. But yeah, that's heavily important, because if it doesn't have that adapter, you're going to get disappointed because you're not going to be able to do the chips. So don't fall into that trap. But there are a lot out. I mean, there are EEPROM programs out there for like $100-$150, and they'll do the 27C 3-2s and the GAL PAL chips. They'll do them as well. Don't forget about them. I'm pretty sure that BioIC now will do the PAL GALs as well. I'm pretty sure. It would make sense if they can do all their other chips, that they'd also do them for you too as well. So that's pretty simple. There's only 2 chips, 2 GALs on the whole board. So it's not, there's not heaps of them that you need to get programmed, and they're just generic. You can just program them and pop them in. You don't have to use any of the jumpers. You can if you want to, but in stock form you shouldn't need to use any of the actual extra jumpers that these boards have, which you can see in this one here. You've got three over here, which I haven't. I've just put the header on for shorting, but I've not actually shorted them out to anything. But that's there for extra options that you can set. So you got U5, which is specific to Dodonpachi, which is what these ones are, and then you've got U6. I think is the same for all of the boards, but the U5 is specific to the game, and then I think there's a generic one where you can also use jumpers as well. But that's what that go is with that. So yeah, okay, let's check that. Make sure that's all good. Yep. Okay, next one. Now, the other thing I do with these shells, I do include real PGM cart plastics. Now, don't be, too upset. You don't have to be upset about anything. I'm not taking cartridges away from games that are really, really good, etc. The game I use to take the cartridge shells off is very, very common. Not a lot of people buy it. It's just a Mahjong clone, so it's not, it's not like this really top end, game like Demon Front or something like that. So I use them. It's a cheap cartridge, and so that's the cartridge I'm using. So I'm not sacrificing anything else. I haven't looked into getting the 3D printable casings, but I think the cost of them to get them made would actually be more than buying this cart and just stripping it for its plastics. So that wouldn't be really such a great idea. I mean, if you really wanted to make sure you weren't using any plastics off a real cart, then of course, the 3D printed ones are the way to go. I've never had them printed. I really should just get a set printed just to see what they are, how they work, how they fit, etc. Because I'm sure someone's going to ask me about them in the future. No one has asked me about them yet at the moment. Actually, not many people have even asked me where I get the plastics from, so that was a little bit of a surprise, especially considering how all the old cave shooters before Fluffy's boards were all hacked up, really cool games. So yeah, it's something that people think about. So now they're all soldered. Just check them out. That's good. Okay, next chip. A2. Now, how's this one going to go in? Oh. Okay, that was good. That went straight in. Cool. That's how they meant to go. They meant to just pop straight in. Alright. Now, one thing I do with these boards is before I actually do all this final soldering, because obviously once you've soldered these chips in, you know, that's it. It would be a pain in the ass to actually, you know, take them out. I do actually have a boards set that's all socketed. Now, I can't put it in a case. I've got to just have them as bare boards in the PGM. But before I do any of this soldering, I check to make sure all the EPROMs and everything work in a real cart. That way I'm not accidentally soldering a chip that's a little bit dodgy or something like that, and then the boards won't work, because that'll be a pain in the ass, especially just for the boards themselves. You know, at the moment I don't have a lot of boards left. I've got some. If people want cave shooters, I do build them. They're not cheap. They're okay if you're like in the US or something, because of the exchange rate to the Australian dollar. But it's because of parts are not too expensive, but the time to actually build them from scratch, that's where it comes into. So yeah, and it's not like I'm making a shitload of money off them at all. I would make hardly anything. It's more just a service to support the PGM community. I even asked Fluffy before I started thinking about selling them, you know, to get his blessing to use his boards to sell games. And he was fine with that. So I have actually, so I'm not ripping off his designs or trying to make money off him or anything like that. And he's totally fine with me doing this. So yeah, so very happy about that. He could have said no, and I would have respected that, and I wouldn't have sold them. But he said yes, and that was all good. Sweet, that's all good. It's all nice. Alright, next side. Now, what else? Yeah, with batch three of my pre-modded PGM motherboards has been opened and has started for orders. Now, I've only got 2 or 3 spots left, so if you are keen, even if you're just interested and you're not sure whether you want to buy one or not, please contact me so that I can put you down as a temporary spot. Otherwise, you might get disappointed if, you know, I don't have a slot to put you in. If you have any questions or anything, you can always hit me up at pgm@gc8tech. So that's pgm@gc8tech.com. And that will get me. Or join the Discord channel and you can talk to me directly in there. That's all cool. Questions are fine. If you've got them, or you want to know about pricing or anything like that. I do also offer a game hunting service. Not all the PGM carts are easy to find, and a lot of new people to the PGM find it quite difficult to find them. So I offer a service where I actually find them. I just charge a little bit of money for a deposit to go towards the game, and then I'll hunt it down and get it. And then when I've finally found it and it's confirmed and it's here, I know how much it's going to be, then you pay for the whole cart. And then I can either send it off to you with your motherboard if you're getting a pre-modded motherboard, or I can just send it as a card off to you. So a lot of people use it. I do not charge anything for my time, and I can tell you what, there's a lot of time that goes into actually finding carts. People think it's just go to eBay, type it in, that's it, but it's not like that at all. Some of the really, really hard carts, you know, it could take a couple of days to actually find them. So it does take time, and I don't charge for that. I'll just do that just to, again, help out the PGM community, support the community. So, yeah. Alright, that's done. That looks good. Alright, let's go to the next one. A1. Let's see how well this goes in. Right. Oh, come on. Come on. One of the legs is a little bit bend. There we go. That's it. That went in. Rightio. Now I know a lot of people have asked me for doing game videos. I do want to do them as soon as possible. But my capture card, which is a data path card, so it's the same card, a lot of people use it. Smoke Monster uses it for all these good kick-ass capture videos that he does, which are really, really cool. If you haven't looked at any of his videos, I recommend that you look him up. We did a video together ages ago about PGM stuff. It's very long, but definitely worth looking at if you're very new to the PGM. Like if you don't even know what it is or you've never actually seen one, it's a good video to watch. But I do recommend his channel. He's got a lot of good stuff. Well worth the time to watch, etc. So yeah, but no, I've got quite a few YouTube videos as well. Probably the most popular one that I've got is my guide on how to buy a PGM motherboard. So if you're not going to buy one pre-modded from me, then you know it's a guide on how to actually buy one from eBay or whatnot, and what to look for, what not to look for, so you can try and get the newest board that you can. The PGM motherboards, the only thing they really suffer from is the caps do leak. So that's another reason for my pre-modded boards, because I do a full recap on them. So that's really important. And the battery, one of the batteries on board, well actually the only battery on board is a little NiCad nickel metal hydride, and if you're familiar with any of that sort of stuff, like on motherboards, old motherboards and stuff, they leak over time and then they start eating away all the tracks. So if you get one of the newer revision PGM boards, which I talk about in my video, it makes life a lot easier for you. There should be less track damage, or there won't be any track damage at all. So that's why I always recommend, I think it's a Rev 8 onwards. Rev 14 is the last one. It's the ultimate to get. If you really want to get one and you're buying one from someone, if you ask them for a Rev 14, that's the one to have. There's no rechargeable battery on it. It just uses a normal coin cell and works, you know, you don't have any trouble with leaking batteries. And it's the latest Rev as well, so it's got the latest BIOS on it and all that sort of thing, etc. as well. Alright, let's get the other side of this chip down. Now, I started a new type of video called Tech and Talk, where I talk about technical stuff while doing some stuff on my bench here. I was going to do these, well, I was thinking about doing these in one of those videos, but I thought since I started all the rest of them as a monthly video, then this should also be a monthly video. So that's where I am with that. If anybody likes that style, it's meant to be a little bit more informal, meant to be just sort of like a catch-up with people, so if people want to ask me questions or anything, I could definitely answer them in that sort of video. But yeah, any ideas and all that sort of stuff, just contact me and let me know. I'm very open to driving content that people want to see, want to learn about, want to hear about, etc, etc, and that's all cool. Now let's get this chip in. Only a few more legs on this one. Now, these PCBs, if you want to get PCBs for yourself and you want to do it yourself, you've got an EEPROM programmer or you're going to buy one, Arcade Projects Forum is where Fluffy hangs out, and his boards are in there and you can get added. He has an interest page, so you just go pop in there and say how many PCBs you want. To make a full set of the 3 cave shooters, you're going to need 9 boards, because each cave shooter is 2 boards. So you need a set of 3 basically, 3 sets of 2. So if you just say, hey, I want 9 boards total, then you know he'll know what you're talking about. So that's an option. A few people have asked me whether I make kits for the cave shooters. I don't do that. I'll build them complete for customers. That's not a problem. Normally, people who are buying a PGM motherboard off me is where we're gonna is what I do. Just make sure that all went in. Yep, that's all good. Yeah, so normally I don't normally do that. I have sent EEPROMs away. People, I've had people with a couple of faulty motherboards and they needed an EEPROM burnt to bring back the board. So I have actually had quite a few of those to do, but that's something, if people get desperate, they can't get an EEPROM programmed, you know, like I'd consider doing it, but yeah, I'll have to see if people, it's got a bent leg, I wonder this thing won't go in. Yeah, it's a pain with these bent legs. All you need is one that's just a little bit out, and then that's it. Doesn't go in. Now, come on. Just give it a wiggle. Oh, come on. This is going to be one of those ones, isn't it? Yeah. Nope. Let's try. What's going on here? This is not going in. Right, let's put it in here. Give it a bit of a squish. And let's try it again. Right. Now, where is the leg that's stuck? Where is it? Right, okay, this is going to take a while. It just does not want to go in. Which leg is it? One of these legs. Okay, this is going to be a pain. I can see it now. What I should have done was to make sure that all these legs are nice and straight before trying to get them into these boards. It doesn't want to go in. Come on. Always just give it a little wiggle. It's heaps, but I can't even see which pin. Come on. It's not going in at all. Let's see if I can get this guy in. Alright, now I've got this chip in. Soldering him in, that was a bit of a pain. He didn't want to go in at all. Right. Solder it in. Okay, now we're not too far away. Let's do this guy in, and then I've got one more chip to do, and then we can put them in a case and power them up, and hopefully everything works as it should. Alright, that's one side done. Yep, that looks good. Now, other side. Now, one of the cool things with these, actually a cool thing with any soldering, if you're not too experienced, you know, it's just practice to get it down to a fine art. Plus, if you want to do like build something, you know, sit down, spend half an hour to an hour to it, then you can take like a break for a little bit and then come back to it, which is really cool. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. I did a couple of things on these before the video, just so that the video didn't end up being too long. So yeah, so just get this guy in. Now I have got videos on soldering and doing stuff like that, recapping and stuff, so if you're interested in that, jump into my YouTube channel and I'm sure you'll find the video pretty easily. Right, now let's have a look at that. Yep, that's all good. Looks good. Right, last one, B1. Now, is she going to go in easily, or is she going to be a pain? I'm hoping it goes in easily. No. 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 Okay, let's put it in the straighten up. Alright, that chip's in. Now let's solder him in. Just clean my tip a little bit, it's a little bit dirty. It's very important to have a nice clean tip, especially when you're doing a lot of soldering like this. Good solder helps as well with good flux inside, and I know I talked about that in some of my other videos, so that's all in there guys if you want to watch them. Alright, get this guy in. Okay, that's one side. Let's see. That looks all good. Now to the other side. Yeah, as you can see with all the boards that I've got on my tech bench at the moment, I've been trying to get some of these boards ready in advance. We've already got a couple of orders for a couple of cave shooter carts, so I was just trying to get a little bit ahead. It's been very hot here in good old Australia. It's been actually a lot better doing soldering at night because it's a lot cooler, so I haven't been doing too much during the day, but today I probably will. Well, I'm doing it now obviously. So yeah, it's just really hot outside. Not very pleasurable to work on a car, which I obviously love working on my Subarus. So that's another thing I do as well. If you're a Subaru owner in Australia and you're into PGM stuff, come and say hi on my Discord channel. Always interested to talk to another Subaru person. I've even got a tattoo of a Subaru on my back, so that's how much I'm into them. I absolutely love them. And I like the original shape range, so your GC, your GF, and the GM. They're the chassis that I like, and they're the ones that I've got. And yeah, always happy to talk about that. Right, now let's see if this one's done enough. Yeah, I think that looks good. Right, so that's all the soldering done. Right, now let's get a casing, which I prepared earlier. Oop, turn around the right way. Alright, that's the bottom. Now, very important with the orientation of the boards, okay? With the program board, it's on the bottom, so the chips have to face down. Okay? And I'm using the wrong board to put these in. Right. Okay, what's going on here? That's alright, that plastic's alright, that one's gonna work. So that's fine. Right, that's that one. Right, let's go. Okay, now this is the top board. This is the program board. So it goes in chip down as well. The chips always face the outer of the case. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it's the top board or the bottom board, they all face out. So the two solder sides face each other. Okay, so we put that guy in there. See, he's all happy. Use the little spacery guy. Goes in like that. Okay, so that's the program board in. Now this is the bottom board. So the chips face out. Okay, let's put it like that. Lid goes on. Now I've got to get these two little guys here lined up. Come on. Should just fit. There we go. Clips in. Just give it a little bit of a wiggle to make sure it's down. Alright, grab a screwdriver. You don't have to tighten these up too tight, guys, or you'll crack the plastics. Just has to be enough so it's sealed. Alright. Alright, that's in. Right. Now it's time. Did everything go to plan? Right, let's grab a PGM from one of the ones I already have. Now you might see this board is an older revision board. I do like fixing the older ones, not just leaving them to die. So this is just one of my tested ones. So I just use this for testing stuff. Alright, cart goes in. Now, I don't have a super gun. I've got my own test rig, which I made like 20 or 30 years ago. So this is on my bench for this, because this is my tech bench here. So if you have a look, just give a quick view of it. So that's mine. Looks a bit messy, but it gives all the voltages and then outputs to my PS1 portable screen, which will accept 15 kHz RGB in. So that's all cool. So I'll just plug this guy in. Plug this guy in. Now the moment of truth. Will it boot up? Okay, that's all in. Alright, the screen's there. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, that's not right. I mustn't have the board seated in right. Yeah, that's not working properly. Give me a second, guys. Hey guys, sorry about that. I had a bent pin. Went around the chips and found a bent pin, so that's all it was. So, well, I'm hoping that's all it was. Let's see how she goes now. And there she is. So there you go, guys. There's the demo. And that's it. That's the last video on how to make the cave shooters. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, or send me some emails, or link up with the Discord BGM group, and I'll talk to you guys then. Catches.